You may need to identify a meaning or a takeaway of a part of a passage. These questions focus on a specific detail from the passage. Supporting ideas are specific focused arguments or details that support the main idea of a passage. When we want to identify supporting ideas, we'll look for prompts that use two key words, according and states. Some of the common prompts are according to the information presented in the selection, according to the passage states which of the following about, the author's description of states which of the following. Let's get into some tips to help us identify supporting ideas. Find the specific reference in the passage and reread it. This is often presented as a noun in the question. What is said about it? A common distractor is the main idea of the entire passage. Remember, supporting idea questions are much more focused. Eliminate anything not directly stated in the passage. You are not inferring or drawing a conclusion here. Eliminate anything contradicting the main idea of the passage. Together, let's read a passage and answer the question that follows. The age of exploration marked a new frontier for sea navigation. This epoch began in the 15th century when Portugal and Spain started to expand their commercial interests and trade routes across the oceans, resulting in the exchange of goods and sometimes even traditions. Sailors used new technologies to navigate across the world, including a device called the quadrant, a fan-shaped magnetic object that measured the altitude of the stars, the moon, and the sun in order to determine the latitude of a ship. Another device was the compass, which used Earth's magnetic poles to point navigators north, south, east, or west. Time-keeping devices like hourglasses were important in calculating how far and how fast a ship had sailed. Early navigators also used maps, although these were not always accurate and were often written during the course of the exploration. These maps were then improved upon with new explorations. With these new technologies, the success of the age of exploration was unparalleled. Now let's answer a question about a supporting idea from the passage. Here we see a question prompt using the keyword according. According to the information presented in the selection, which new technology determined the latitude of a ship? A. Quadrant. B. Compass. C. Maps. D. Astrolabe. Remember, the supporting ideas are stated clearly in the text. Think to yourself, where was latitude mentioned? What was said about it? Choice A is best. The phrase, a device called the quadrant, a fan-shaped magnetic object that measured the altitude of stars, the moon, and the sun in order to determine the latitude of a ship, is clearly stated in the passage. The other terms do not determine the latitude of a ship. Regarding choice B, the compass is mentioned in this passage, but the passage says it was used to point navigators in a direction, not determine latitude. The passage does mention maps, like we see in choice C, but they are said to have not been very accurate. And for D, the astrolabe was an ancient sailing device, but it was not mentioned in the passage at all. Choice A is definitely the one to choose. We'll work through one more example. This passage is about humans' impact on Earth. Some earth-changing events occur naturally, but others come from us, from humans. It's important to remember that we each have our own impact on the Earth. In many cases, humans influence the Earth's natural processes on purpose, speeding them up, slowing them down, or manipulating them in other ways to get something we want, usually a natural resource like oil. Some of what we do to our planet is on purpose, and some of it is accidental. Cutting down forests, building new houses, bridges, office buildings, and movie theaters are just a few of the projects that can lead to quickening of natural events that might have taken much longer without humans' involvement. Ultimately, the future of the Earth is in our hands. Let's take a look at the question about a supporting idea from the passage. According to the passage, one human project that leads to natural events happening faster is A. Burning fossil fuels, B. Planting forests, C. Building new office buildings, D. Nothing. Humans don't affect natural events. Remember, the supporting ideas are stated clearly. Think to yourself, where was project mentioned and what was said about it? Choice C is best. The phrase building new office buildings is mentioned just before a few of the projects that can lead to a quickening of natural events. The other choices are not as strong. The activities in A and B aren't mentioned in the passage. Even though choice A would be a likely thing to contribute to natural events, it wasn't stated. Remember, in questions about supporting ideas, it must be listed in the passage. That's why the question starts with, according to the passage. Choice D contradicts one of the main ideas of the passage, that humans cause natural events to happen more quickly. When answering questions about supporting ideas, don't pick a choice that contradicts the main idea.